I'm Julia Child. Welcome to my house. What fun we're going to have baking all kinds of incredible cakes, pies, and breads right here in my own kitchen. Esther McManus, the talented French pâtissière who runs Le Bus Bakeries in Philadelphia, shows us how to make croissants. You know, those wonderful buttery French crescent rolls. Join us on Baking with Julia. This is a real French croissant. Just look at it. That's tender and flaky and buttery. It's just absolutely delicious in every way. And Esther McManus is going to make them for us, and she's a real French baker, and her name is Esther because she's French. Okay,
Thank you.
How do we begin?
Well, we begin by having the right ingredients, which is butter, flour, milk, yeast, salt, and sugar. So we put the flour in, 3 cups and 3/4.
That's just about a pound.
That's a pound and 2 ounces exactly.
Pound and 2 ounces.
We add the yeast, and then we put 2 level teaspoons of salt and 1/3 cup of sugar. Then you put right away 1 whole cup of milk, and you leave the other half so that in case you need it, you will use it. Then you start on a low speed until the ingredients are kind of mixed. So I can see that it is a little dry. It's good to constantly check your dough so that you don't get it too wet, because it's easier to make a dough lighter than to then thicken it. You always know that the dough is starting to be right when it has picked up most of the flour from the bottom of the bowl. So because I find that the mixer is struggling a little bit, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to make it easier for the mixer to work. So I'll put it on, put it back, and then put little pieces like this. It helps the mixer
That's interesting.
work a little better. And this way, it will have a chance to gather it into a ball and make it work. And I will let it work just a little bit longer until I feel that the dough is unified. So you take it, you pound it a little bit, knead it a little bit, and you wait until
Let's feel it now.
it feels, see, it feels nice. You make it smooth. So what we're going to do is just wrap it in a piece of plastic like this. And again, make it smooth. And because it's going to grow, you will put it in a plastic bag so that the air does not penetrate it. I'm going to leave it in room temperature for about half an hour. So it will stay right here next to me until I feel that it's ready to go to the refrigerator. Now I'm going to change to the paddle because it's going to beat my butter without making it oily.
Chilled unsalted butter.
Unsalted, best quality butter. And we're going to use a pound and about 2 ounces like this. Now why do I cut it? It's because the paddle will have an easier time going at it. So we'll go like this. I will put into it 2 tablespoons of flour.
What does the flour do?
Okay, the flour is important in here because it will absorb some of the water in the butter. And you want as little water in this butter. That little bit of flour will take care of it. Now I'm going to put it on high speed. Lower it a little. Lower. And I believe that's it. I stop now because I don't want it to get oily. So now I take this mass of butter, I put it here,
It's still chilled.
It is.
Yeah.
That's because I cut it in pieces before I put it.
Yeah.
I tap it nice to get all the air out. This butter is going to be going into the dough to create the flaky croissant that you so enjoyed. And both these two things are going together to the refrigerator. They're going to be very happy to spend the night together in the refrigerator to be of the same temperature and of the same consistency.
Fine.
This is the dough that has rested for 30 minutes, but then it lived in the refrigerator with the butter overnight or a minimum of 8 hours.
So it's chilled now. Both are chilled. And it has begun to rise, hasn't it?
Right. So
It looks lovely. It looks so much smoother.
yeah. Now smell how delicious it smells. It's fermented. It's delicious smelling already.
Lovely. So you can eat it raw.
You could eat it raw. So now we have to work with a little bit of flour because you don't want it to attach itself to the marble. Then I brought this pin here, and it has a lot of weight, so you want this nice, wonderful weight. You always do it this way and that way.
Yes.
Anyway, you always are, in a way, kind but authority.
Yes.
You don't be scared. You are not scared of the dough.
You know what you're
the
doing.
dough should be scared of you, you know. So you bring it to 17 inches and 10 inches wide. You open your butter, and the butter has also lived
Beautiful.
for 8 hours. It's beautiful.
It's quite hard, though, isn't
It is. It should be.
Yeah.
Because you lift this dough like this, and you sort of stretch it a little bit, and you make it sit here. It doesn't want to, but you're going to be the boss. And you do the same thing, and you turn it like this, and you hold a little bit this end here, and you take this pin, and you start beating from the middle. Distribute the butter, kindly but firmly. You see how the butter is moving? It is almost filling its half. I turn it like this, and I do the same thing for the other half.
That's a very clever way of doing it.
And now you understand why the butter had to be solid.
Yes.
Because if it was not solid, it would have gone where it wanted to go. So then I'm going to go a little bit this way, and again, in my head, I am seeing the butter walking toward the end. I do this for the other half, pivot it, and I do the same thing in here. Okay? Now, I would say that I am not going to go any further than this because I feel that it doesn't want me to. So I'm going to put it in a sheet tray, please, cookie sheet.
There you are.
I put a very small amount of flour, and I'll rest it for 2 hours
In the fridge?
in the refrigerator. That's it.
Fine.
Voila.
Now this is the dough that's rested 2 hours.
That's right. Now we're going to flour the board again and go like this. Put it down, flour the top. At this point,
Very lightly.
don't work.
And it's already rising, isn't
Right.
it? Yeah.
Right. And don't try to flour the rolling pin. It doesn't do any good.
Oh, it doesn't.
Always go both directions,
And try to keep it as even as
as
possible. I
even
guess.
as possible. Again, I'm going both ways.
That's about 24 inches long and about 14 inches wide.
And this is what I have now. Always make sure it doesn't stick.
Oh, that's
Because when it sticks, it tears. When it tears, you're in trouble. Okay? So now we fold it, and I have a nice little pastry brush here. I usually take the flour out and I...
It isn't actually even down there, but it
It
doesn't
doesn't
make
have
any
to
difference.
be.
Doesn't have
It
to be.
really does not have
No.
to be even. Because, look what I'm going to do now. I'm going to give it just a little request. I'm going to tell it, come on, please, get together nicely. But I'm not going to force it to do anything because it does not like to be forced. Don't go down on it.
Because that toughens it, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You
So
like
it has to feel easy.
That's it. And if it doesn't work, it means it's not ready. Put it back in the refrigerator and don't worry about it. Now it is measuring 15 by 9, roughly. See how I lift it like I'm lifting a baby? Like this. I put it down because I don't want to stretch it. And that is when I mark what I did because I may forget.
Yeah.
I put 1 turn. And then I know that it is going to be
fine.
there. And I'm not
How many
worried.
more does it have now?
It's going to have 1 more single and 1 double. And each time it rests about an hour in between. Sometimes it rests a little longer.
Now this is turn number 2, Esther.
That's right. So
Rested for 1 hour.
yes, and nice and chilled, as you can feel.
It is indeed.
Okay, we're going to give it a double turn.
A double turn.
It's very similar to what we have done. See, when it cracks like this, don't worry about it, because it's normal. The action of the yeast has started to work, and it's okay.
It has a lovely sort of buttery sweet aroma, doesn't it?
Let me just give it a little bit more. Although I think I feel it getting, see, there's a little butter here. Don't worry about it. Okay, because you know we are in July and it's warm.
It's good to know that that will happen.
That's right. I think it's important for the student to know because when they see that butter, they get all excited. Don't worry about it.
Don't panic.
No, don't panic.
Well, this is the famous double turn.
That's the famous double turn, or a portefeuille,
The wallet.
a wallet,
You know.
it's called in French. Clean it from the dough. I will put it like this,
We'll make it evenly there.
a little even, and leave a little space here
Yes.
for the fold.
There
Et
you
voilà.
are.
Now you have a dough that needs to rest, but then once it's rested, it's ready to be cut.
So what are you going to write on it this
Now
time?
I'm going, what I do, because they know me at the bakery, I put the word done with a
Done.
big exclamation mark.
Right. Now here's your chilled final dough. You've cut it in half, so that's just half of the dough.
Remember, it is a double fold. Here's the double fold. And that'll be the length of the dough. Make sure it is always in a clean marble so that it does not stick to it.
This is the real moment of truth, as
This
they
is
say,
the
isn't
moment
it?
of truth, that's right. So I'm going to roll it in order to cut it. For the beginner, this is a much easier amount of dough to use because otherwise, when it's too big, you can't really handle it in the beginning. At this point, it's nice if you could just learn to work fast. Because when the dough gets warm, it has a problem.
Well, you could use chilled marble if you didn't have such
Well,
a big
that's
one.
what we have at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I would say that for this, we have the measuring tape, please. So just somebody would know it is plus about 20, and here we have about 15. So
20 by 15.
it could go a little bit more, but we're going to just go over it like this. Now, brush the flour, because at this point, you don't need the flour anymore. If you have too much flour, you cannot roll the croissant. So you want to have, at this point, a nice, clean marble. You start here and you make an angle like this. And then it's about 4 inches wide.
And that's a double piece of dough.
A double piece of dough. These pieces of dough, usually, I'll show you what I do with them. They don't go to waste. They're very nice to have. Then you open it, open them up like this.
Well, that's very, very neat and nice.
It is nice. Cut it like this.
Now, this is the biggest moment of truth, how to form a croissant. Yes. I'll be interested to see
and
that.
It is something you have to acquire, really. First of all, you have to learn how to lengthen them.
I'm going to do that a little bit with you.
Okay, just hold them with all your fingers tucked under and your thumb in here. And then starting from the middle, roll, 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 without stopping all the way. Beautiful.
Not really, that does hold.
That's beautiful.
Gently, okay.
Yes. That's something people are afraid to do because they don't know how and they're afraid to tear it. Then you put a little piece of dough to give it a little more belly.
Now that's a good idea.
And then you just seal it in there. And then give it a first kind of turn and wet your hands or moisten your hands.
Moisture.
Yes. And start at arm's length so that you have plenty of room to come down. And you start rolling with your palm right on the floor. This is very, very nice marble. It's very shiny, so it's beautiful. Always this flap here has to face you when you put it down so that they all are rolled in the right direction. Now I'm going to use almond cream.
I'm not going to do it. You do it. Almond cream.
Now,
that's about a tablespoon.
This is a tablespoon.
For me.
And I go like this at it. It's a little more tricky to roll a filled croissant because obviously you now have a mass of something inside that needs to be dealt with. So you just have to go.
Though.
If you feel that you haven't done it tight enough, you go over it again. And go down, 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 all the way. Because you're getting a little bit of a spiral here too, which is important. Put them down. Now, before you forget, you must label your tray. I divide it. I put almond in here and plain in here because it's very quickly forgotten.
I notice you turn the little points.
That's
now.
right, because you want them to be what the French call cintrés. The reason I put them off of each other is that they have room to expand.
Because they're going to puff right up.
That's right. We egg wash them, and then we put them in a turned off oven with a little boiling water for steam.
And how much do they rise?
About 3 hours, and you don't cover them at this point.
Do they rise twice or more?
They don't actually rise that much. They just become kind of spongy.
Spongy.
And there's no resistance to the dough. It's like hollow inside. When it feels hollow inside, you put them in a 350-degree oven and you bake them.
Well, now these are ready to proof.
To proof.
Good.
This is the second half of the dough that we used in the beginning. And with this half, we're going to make petit pain au chocolat. Chocolate croissant, which is a great favorite. They're usually the ones that go first. You know that. So what I do is I fold the dough the same way I did with the other croissant, and I kind of measure it by this semi-sweet chocolate. If you don't have piece of chocolate like this, you take your own piece of chocolate and you put two pieces together, you know. Okay, so we'll save this for later. We have, again, the same way, unfold the dough and cut it.
Yep.
Now, this is much easier to roll than what we have done until now. You just put your 2 pieces of chocolate.
It doesn't make any difference that that's uneven.
No, it does not. It all will proof or rise nice and even.
You press down on that.
Press down on it, give it a nice little touch.
Those 2 pieces together are about an ounce, I would say.
It's about an ounce. Just roll, 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 and flatten. And again, one more little flat.
Good.
And now, we're going to make a pâté.
And here it is. I can smell it.
This is a pâté de foie. Put a little piece in here.
You could use regular foie gras if you want.
You can do, sure.
Anything.
You can put anything you like. Again, just tuck it slightly in because it is not a piece of chocolate that is sturdy.
Then I guess you glaze it and let it rise. There.
Let it rise or proof. Put it in a turned off oven that has preferably a little pilot light for heat and give it a little boiling water for steam and do not cover it.
And it'll take about 3 hours.
That's right. Now, these are the proofed,
ready.
ready croissants to go to the oven.
They really have risen too, haven't they?
Yes. I'm going to egg wash them again.
This is their final egg wash.
And you see how spongy they are when they're ready?
Yep.
If you touch them, they're like hollow inside. Now, on the almond ones, I'm going to sprinkle a few slivered
Then
almonds.
you'd really know that it was almond.
Then you really know. Because once they baked, it's very hard to
Yes,
tell
it is.
which is
Great.
which. This is the very last thing we have to do now. We have to bake them in a 350 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. Rotate them, meaning put one on the top, that's on the top in the bottom, and the bottom one on the top.
About halfway through, you
For about
rotate
halfway
them.
through,
Yep.
and wish them a bon voyage.
Oui. Do you think they're ready?
I think so.
Ooh,
They're beautiful.
beautiful.
Ah, these are nice.
Let's look at the pâté. I'd love to see that.
Petit
It smells so
pâté?
good. Le petit pâté.
Petit pâté.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll cut this one open. And again, the same idea. See?
That looks lovely.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see croissant quality like this anymore. Even in France, they don't make them
You
of
know,
this quality.
we feel we have the responsibility to be the guardian of a tradition.
Then thanks ever so much. I really feel I can even roll a croissant thanks to you.
Thank you, Julia, and keep making wonderful croissants.
You do too. Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Bon appétit!